Two driveways today, snow blowing. That's pretty good. So little snow burn here, but we're good. So, all right, I have 4 o'clock. I'd like to call the Isabella County Board of Commissioners work session electronic meeting to order, please, if we could. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic for
and
which
to the
it
republic
stands,
for which it stands,
God, indivisible,
one
with
nation,
liberty
under
and
God,
justice for all.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who do we have today? Is it Deputy Clerk Young? Is that who's doing the roll call?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. All right,
Brenda.
Deputy Clerk.
Hi.
Deputy Clerk, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Hutchinson.
Here, reporting from my home in Nottawa Township.
Commissioner Engler. Absent. Commissioner Jelezinski.
President, participating from my home in Chippewa Township, Isabella County, Michigan.
Commissioner Horton.
Present, participating from my principal residence in Union Township, Isabella County, Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Commissioner Moreno.
Here, participating at the meeting today from my residence in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
Commissioner Swaney.
Here, participating from my home in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Isabella County.
And Commissioner Hope.
Present, attending remotely from my home in the city of Mount Pleasant, County of Isabella in Michigan.
All present except for Commissioner Engler, chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk Young. Next up, approval of the agenda. We have general public comments, presentations and special reports, appointments to board and commissions. We have one item. Next up, committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee.
Finance and Administration is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next up, Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee is all set, Mr. Chairman.
Human Resources and Public Works.
Human Resources and Public Works didn't have any agenda item, so we're all set, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Next up, Intergovernmental Affairs, Vice Chairman Hope.
Not today, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Under Administrative Controller, we have nothing. Unfinished business, nothing. New business, nothing. That moves us to general public comments, announcements, and then adjournment. Can I get an approval for the agenda, please? A motion.
So moved, Marino.
Support Swaney.
We have a motion and support for the approval of the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a roll call. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Okay, we have an agenda. Next up, general public comments. Nicole, do we have anybody out there for general public comments?
We do not have anyone for general public comment at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'll wait just a few more seconds to have someone if they want to comment. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close up general public comment, go to presentations and special reports. Margaret, do we have anything on that today for you under that?
No, we do not.
Okay. All right, we'll move down next to item number 6, appointments to boards and commissions. Commissioner Swaney, can I get you to maybe bring that up, please?
Yes. Looking to consider reappointing Jacqueline Curtis to serve on the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging Advisory Council for a 3-year term ending March 31st, 2024. We received their application, and this is a incumbent who's been on the board before and has been serving us at Isabella County.
Yeah. Anybody have anything they want to add or say in regards to Jackie, or anybody have anything to add?
I just had a question. I thought we just saw Jacqueline Curtis's name recently in an appointment. I know she's in multiple committees or so, but I thought it wasn't that long ago, that maybe last month even. Okay, great person.
She might be with Commission on Aging too. I think she lists
Several committees. Yeah, I get it.
Yes.
Just going down.
She's a real civic-minded person.
Yeah, she does, Jim. Under her previous civic and governmental involvement on her thing, it says Commission on Aging through reappointed 12/2020. So you're right on. She was reappointed. Looks like she's on, yeah, she's definitely on the Commission on Aging Board because it looks like we reappointed her on 12/2020. So, yeah. So, okay, anything else? Okay, we'll move on to committee reports, Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First up is consider accepting and placing on file the February 4th, 2021 routine personnel items as presented. And this is pretty basic one, just about 5 or 6 step increases is all we have on this. So nothing earth shattering, nothing to write home about. Any questions? Okay, hearing and seeing none, that item will move forward to tonight's consent agenda.
The second item is consider ratifying and placing on file the January 29th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $193,310.09. The February 5th, 2021 invoice list in the amount of $1,695,901.84. And the adjustment list dated February 11th, 2021. We went through this on committee. The bills that stand out at the front, exceed 5,000, should be very familiar with us. It's either due to contracts that we've approved in the past or services that are rendered to various departments that we continually see it before us. On the January 29th, the only one that I could see there's a bond discharge for trial court for venture insurance services of $15,000. That's a little bit different than we've seen in the past, but that is just returning the bond in to the individual that paid it. On the January 5th list, that has a few more dollars involved, but a lot of them are pass-through dollars. For example, Gratiot Isabella Intermediate School District has a $1,368,717.05 for a tax disbursement. So a lot of it's pass-through money, and the ones that are not, I think would be very familiar to county board members as you look at the list. Do you have any questions on the first 2 sheets? And the last one is the February 11th adjustments list. Again, there's Gordon Food Service for early payment discounts. You have the Isabella County Register of Deeds. That was a duplicate invoice, duplicate for drains, and so that was corrected. Small dollar amounts due to entry errors that were made when the bills are put into the system. Questions on any of the 3 sheets? All right, then we'll move this forward to tonight's meeting.
Okay, item number 3 is consider approving the following financial institutions as designated depositories for the recommendation of the county treasurer: Choice One Bank, CIBC Bank, Citizens Bank, Fifth Third Bank, Flagstar Bank, Horizon Bank, Independent Bank, Isabella Community Credit Union, JP Morgan Chase, Leon Capital Advisor, MBIA Michigan Class, Mercantile Bank of Michigan, Multi-Bank Securities, North Star Bank, PNC Bank, SunTrust Robinson Humphrey, TCF Bank, and Wells Fargo. So we do this periodically. Financial institutions that we do business with. It helps with diversification and the FDIC coverage. Occasionally, this question was asked in the committee, do we ever take banks off? And the treasurer said, occasionally we do, usually because a bank is gone because it got merged with a larger bank, which happens quite often. As Mr. Pickens explained, I see our our treasurer, Mr. Pickens, is signed on here. Steve, do you want to add anything to that or?
Well, a lot of things. So everybody knows we go through a rating system for each one of the banks or institutions that we deal with. And we have a red light, yellow light, green light system. And if they fall within the yellow light, don't get the greens, we don't invest with them. So it takes into the consideration their net worth and their productivity as well. So we are rating those, and it's a standard that the Michigan Association of County Treasurers has developed, and it's been working good for a good number of years.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? Okay, hearing and seeing none, that item will move forward to tonight's agenda.
The next item is accepting and placing on file fiscal year 2021 first quarter financial management services report as presented. Steve, you want to give the highlights of your report?
Sure. Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I won't go through it in a lot of detail. We went through it in a little more detail at Finance Committee, but just kind of some general comments. I mean, this quarter, mainly compliance stuff and audit prep work and so forth. Kind of the first one's kind of that general overall review and oversight process that we normally look at. Point number 2 gets into that continued work with getting the trial court bank reconciliations. They've been great about getting that information for us for audit purposes. The third point there relates to your county incentive program, and that is a kind of a bigger deal because it's about $1.3 million tied to that filing of that transmission of some of the reports to Treasury. And then also a link on your website to some live data on Treasury's website. So that was a large chunk of the quarter was spent. That was filed by it was due by December 1st, 2020. And there's kind of there is a no exceptions. So if you don't have that done, they kind of will not allow your dollars will flow to you if that isn't filed. So that was done as of December 1st to get that taken care of. The final point there on the first page was related to audit prep. So obviously that was a big push for the quarter to get audit prep ready. The audit was conducted, and that's happened. And in fact, I just got off a Zoom call with Melissa Frankquist for a couple hours. We were going through some things on the draft report. So we're in the process of reviewing that now. We've got the draft report, and so we're kind of and I know we've set some dates on that to go forward to committee and then to you, the full board, in the month of March. The fifth point there was there's a new governmental standard that related to what we call the trusted agency funds, or your 700 funds. So there's a new presentation of that information within those funds. So I gathered a lot of new information that we had to provide to the auditors, and the auditors and I talked a couple times, and I think we got that all hashed out. So with a lot of information, they only had 1 or 2 questions. So I guess I got them what they needed. So that was a positive thing for that. Attended various meetings and work sessions and so forth as we've done in the past. Continued to review journal entries and go through that kind of as that secondary review for the administrator controller's office, reviewing all the journal entries that get posted. And then also assisted with that final quarterly report, which I think is the next thing on the agenda. So that final or the last quarterly report was that assistance to help prepare that report and get that to you, to the commissioners. So it's kind of a lot in a nutshell, but I know we spent a lot more time on it at finance, so I won't go through it in much more detail than that. I don't know if there's any specific questions. I'm happy to entertain.
I guess I'm gonna get up on my soapbox just for a minute. One thing I noticed is not in the report is a reference to a 3-year budgetary planning tool. And I was kind of disappointed not to even see it listed any longer. Just I think everybody knows my feeling that we need to know the impacts on the operational budget. And this is gonna be one commissioner that'd be voting against the bond if we don't see what those impacts are. And I'll just leave it lay at that. Any other questions on this issue or comments? This will be moved into tonight's meeting.
Okay. Which brings us down to item number 5. Consider accepting and placing on file fiscal year 2021 first quarter financial report as presented. And we all have the report there as part of our packet. And Margaret, this is the point where you usually tell us not to panic. So
That is true. I will tell you when you need to panic. Don't panic yet.
okay.
So a couple things. I guess I'd like to mention before we move much further that, oh, I'm sorry, something is ringing here. I apologize. It's not going to ring, it's just going to vibrate and drive me crazy. So I'll just move it to the other side of the table. I apologize. This is one of the instruments that I want those commissioners who have served for a long time may remember that this is a relatively new document and report that's provided to the Board of Commissioners since my time here. We have decided that a number of years ago that you needed to see this information quarterly to kind of know where we stood. So this is a report that has been in place the last few years, and I think it's you will note that if you were to look at this, compare it to your budget document, the format is similar. It's kind of like a marketing plan. You keep presenting the information in a concise way that begins to make sense to people because it's all in the same format. So let's talk a little bit about this. Again, we did a deep dive at the committee meeting, but I'd like to go through a little bit with you. The revenues, again, this is the part that I tell you not to panic about, Commissioner Hope, every year. Revenues, you know, our fiscal year starts October 1st, but we don't have all those revenues coming in October 1st. So when you look at this, you can see that we are at the end of December 31st at 6.19% of our revenues. But again, that's just the way our system goes. So approximately $4.4 million was reversed out of the tax revenues into the current fiscal year because it was for the last fiscal year. So it gets booked that way. And for the last fiscal year and cleared it in the current fiscal year. As far as the permits and licenses, again, not as many wind turbine expenses as we anticipated. Therefore, not using as many revenues to cover those expenses. Please remember that we have an escrow account of approximately $350,000 actually left from what was started as the $589,000 to complete that project through our planning department. So those were dollars that were deposited with us. And as those bills come up, that's what's paying for those. So when you see those bills from Rowe Engineering that worked on the wind turbine project, our funds did not pay for that. That project paid for those, just as an example.
I tell you, that was a good measure on us to make.
Yes, it was. You know, we have some extraordinary people on our team, and that is a tip of the hat to Tim Newport, who spent, I can't tell you how much, well, as Tim says, it's the project of his career, and it certainly is his career, but he made sure that he did things to make sure the county was well protected, and I salute him for that. He did a great job with that, and we would talk about that, but he certainly did more than the heavy lifting. So great job. Eventually, you know, the other thing is some of the expenses are down, licenses and permits. Our licenses were down, as an example. Not a huge income, but that's a good example. Federal and state, the timing of grants has a lot to do with how the grants are received from October through December. Again, that will catch up with us. Charges for services, again, some timing issues. You know, COVID has made some of the revenues we anticipated coming through the trial court to be lower than normal. Diverted felons from the state revenue has also been lower than usual and pushed back. The interest and rents, again, same kind of situation. Transfer in from CPL, that's an entry to transfer in monies usually done in the second quarter. And the transfer out to other funds, entry to transfer in the monies is usually done at the end of the year. So that's kind of where we are with that. If you go to the first expenditure sheet, you can look at the jury board. You might want to note that we had our first jury trial of the year last week. So those expenses are going to be at zero when this report was done. Administration, the $317,000 that pertain to the jail project will be reimbursed in 2021 when we do the bonding for that project. So we just want to make sure that you know that that is budgeted and it looks like we're over, but all of those funds will be returned to us. Elections, most expenditures pertain to the November election. Managed assigned counsel, that's dependent on the number of cases that we have that go to our public defender office. Remonumentation, most of those invoices were received in October through December, but pushed back. Again, for services that were done before this quarter. Central services, some are bigger postage projects for departments like the treasurer's office, equalization, those types of things that have big projects for postage at the end of the year or the first quarter. Marine safety, zero, because again, it's a timing issue. There's more unfortunate need for that during the warmer months. The drains at large, again, timing. Landfill, a little activity so far this fiscal year. Medical examiner, only the October monthly contract invoice was paid in that quarter. That's when it was received. November was paid in January, and we hadn't received December's yet at the end of the year. So we pay those as we receive them. Human Rights Commission, they also met less frequently during the year. And the transfers out to MIDC, we have to transfer out those funds from our local share every year into that fund. I don't want to go fast and not take into any consideration of any questions you might have, but if you don't have any other questions, we've kind of blew ourselves through expenditures, revenues, and other funds. The only other comment I would like to make, and then I will try to answer any questions you may have, is a couple of things. You know, we had projected using a fund balance of $1,350,153. Our fund balance actually that we're going to end up using might be more likely like $140,000 because those other funds are going to be returned to us for the jail project. So those are good. That's good news going forward. And we'll continue to have that news nailed down more as the audit gets completed and reported out to you. Again, for the commissioner's knowledge, the auditors had to file our audit by the end of March. And they will be presenting to the Board of Commissioners at the last meeting in March on the audit. And it will be presented in the work session. And also there will be a synopsis of that presented at the preceding Finance Committee.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Any questions on that? Okay.
Thank you.
Hearing and seeing none, then that item will move forward to tonight's agenda. And Mr. Chairman, that completes the work of the Finance and Administration Committee.
Thank you very much. Next, moving on to the Criminal Justice and County Affairs Committee.
Mr. Chair, we have one item. Consider approving the grant agreements between the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development and Isabella County Animal Control in the amount of $7,550 for enhanced spay and neuter operations, and authorize the board chairperson to sign the same. So this was presented last Tuesday to the subcommittee. The HATS, which is Crown's contracted with the county, they incur the costs of spaying and neutering for the animals there. And our staff submitted for this grant to help them pay for this. Of course, the HATS does a great job for us with the money that we provide them, and this is going to help them go a little bit further. I believe, I have to look back, I forgot to look. This helps with about 120 animals or 180 animals. And it's broken down by, you know, male and female dogs, cats. But we're just here to hopefully approve this grant for HATS. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we'll move this forward to the regular session.
All right, thank you very much. There's nothing under Human Resources and Public Works Committee, so nothing under Intergovernmental Affairs, nothing under Administrator Controller, no unfinished business, no new business. Nicole, that brings us to general public comments.
There is no one for general public comment at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll wait a few more seconds and see if anybody wants to join us. Hearing and seeing none, we'll close general public comments, move on to announcements. Commissioners, any announcements? Commissioner Jelezinski.
With the new snow, it kind of reminded me of with the Northern Michigan Counties Association. We had a program that dealt with water level on the Great Lakes. And the person that did the presentation said that the water level is starting to decline. It's only down about 1 or 2 inches, and it's going to still be at historical highs through the balance of the year. And whether or not that 1 or 2 inches would get caught up is dependent on the snow in Michigan and Wisconsin on Lake Michigan. And I can tell you, after plowing 5 drives today, the snowbanks that I've seen in my own yard and my family's yards, they're higher than I've seen in a long time. So they said the snowfall was down, but I'm thinking we're catching up with that. And with that cold weather, we're probably getting a little bit more ice on the Great Lakes, which will reduce evaporation. So I guess the people that have their homes along the Great Lakes are still going to have to deal with storms and high water levels and erosion. Attended the Michigan State University Extension District 6 Advisory Council, and had 2 excellent programs. But one that I really was impressed with is one dealing with farm stress. And it happens that we have the person that is offering that program right here in our county building. That's Eric Kowalski. But I didn't realize in agriculture, all the different stresses from commodity prices, equipment breakdowns, weather. I mean, there's one thing after another. And this stress is taking a toll on farming families, and you have issues with suicide and the like. So if you have, you know of anybody out anywhere in Isabella County, agricultural county that has dealing with stress for any reason, have them get hold of Michigan State University Extension here in at the county building and ask for Eric Kowalski, and we'll see some resources to help. We did read in the newspaper about the COVID-19, the fact that there's a lot of people not wanting to take it. Well, 2 days before that article came out, I did get a newsletter from Michigan, from the new, I think it was the name of the organization that I was on. Health Network. There we go.
Mid-state.
That's right. They put out a sheet, information sheet that said that uptick. Uptick is the difference in a ratio between the people that take the vaccine and the people that are refusing it. And anecdotal information is saying that uptick figure is 40%. However, to get herd immunity and eradication of COVID-19, you have to have 70% or greater. Now, I know there's a lot of information. Every once in a while, you read the news and listen, and someone's dies from it, and you know it's probably pulled out of I don't know where they pull it out of from, but I know I just had my second dose probably 10 days ago, and the complications are not that bad. Little soreness in the arm, a little bit of tired on the second one, but there shouldn't be anything there that people should fear. So somehow we need to get the word out when we go to meetings that people need to be vaccinated so that it can help society as a whole. That's what I have for right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Jelzinski. Margaret, County Administrator Controller.
Real quick, just I have one other thing that I'd like to follow up on what Commissioner Jelzinski just said. You know, I just want to tip my hat to Central Michigan District Health Department. They are under talk about stress. They have been under a lot of stress and a lot of effort and are working yeoman hours and days and nights. And had an opportunity, you know, their website has all of these forms, for lack of a better term, that you can go on and register for. I registered on behalf of the county employees, and of course our law enforcement and central dispatch and law enforcement across our counties and firefighters and first responders were all vaccinated. And then I got a call from Central Michigan District Health 5 weeks ago, I think, late on a Friday afternoon, like 20 to 4, who said, Margaret, we're looking at face-to-face people from the county. Maybe on Monday, we have 54 slots. How many can you fill? I can fill 54. And they're like, really? Yes, I can. And they're like, well, do you want to give us the numbers? Nope, you don't have to call anybody. You tell me when to have people there. I think I can fill them. I filled those 54 slots before 10 o'clock Saturday morning and had 17 employees on a waiting list. And we showed up in groups of 3 starting at 8:30 that Monday morning. They were tremendous what they did and get us all through and out. And they had other people coming. And then our group had their second too, Commissioner Jelzinski, a week ago yesterday. And we did have some people who had side effects, but I will tell you, I checked on all of those who I knew were having any side effects, and every single one of them said to me or through whoever else, I'll be happy to feel like I have the 24-hour flu. You know, in the end, I'm so relieved and happy to have received that vaccine. So that's a tip of my hat to Central Michigan District Health. If you see any of those people or those of you who represent the Board of Commissioners in our county on that board, I send Steve Hall an email every couple of weeks and tell him what a great job they're doing and how proud I am of them and what can we do to help them. So they need that encouragement. Totally unrelated, as I know that we're talking about if people are on the phone, but I want you to know that you might be surprised who's watching us on YouTube. They may not be on public comment, but you are being watched more on YouTube than we ever were having folks in our audience. And so I just want you to know and not lose interest or not think that, oh gosh, nobody's paying attention. As a matter of fact, I had another municipal official said to me last week something about they had watched one of our meetings after the meeting. So people can be going onto those YouTube channels any time of the day or night and watching us. So I want you to know that there's people paying attention to the hard work you're all putting in. That's all I have to say.
I'd like to send a copy of this from Mid-State Health Network. It does give some sites. It doesn't give the address specific, but you can put it in your search engine and they all come up. I'll send it to you, commissioners, and to Margaret, so you have that information. It can be passed on to others.
Thank you. We'll pass that on to all of our employees too. Absolutely. And thank you, Commissioner.
Is Jim with us? Sorry, the chair.
Commissioner Horton, are you froze? I think he's frozen for just a few seconds there. We should probably a while.
Probably scrambling to get on the telephone.
I'm sure he is.
I'd like to report that, Margaret, that I did attend Zoom meetings with the not the townships, Isabella Township, and listen in on what they were doing and bringing forward. And And there was talk on the vaccine, and I can't wait to get mine. Everybody's excited.
That's wonderful. That's good news.
Well, we had Jim back for a minute.
Commissioner Hope, I do think we're at the end of the agenda. I don't know if you're comfortable stepping in and adjourning the meeting.
Yeah, that's fine. Are there any other announcements?
This is Nicole. Jim is actually, he
There
just
you
joined by phone.
There he is.
There we go. All right. Can everyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I think I'll just, anybody else have anything to add or anything? I heard Terry speak a little bit. Sorry about that. I made it to the end. I even moved downstairs and I don't know what's going on in this house, but just real quick, I echo what all the commissioners say about getting your vaccinations when you have a chance. I know right now everyone thinks the turnout is slow, but the supply does not equal the demand. That's for sure. There's a lot more demand than supply. Rollouts in the local pharmacies, hopefully they're going to come soon. I don't have any more updates other than that. I know our pharmacy here in Mount Pleasant is, we're ready to go. We're just waiting for product. So I know some of our other pharmacies are starting to schedule. My suggestion is to get on the list if you can get on the list and get the shot when you can get the shot and get in the rotations and get into that. So I'm another one who's had both immunizations. I've had no problems whatsoever. So with that, I'm going to Mark, I can never remember on these things. Do we need a motion or I can just adjourn?
You can adjourn at the choice of the chair.
All right. I don't see anybody else. So we'll adjourn it at 4:36. I think that has to be one of the shortest ones in record. So that's good. I think George had one about 12 minutes before one time. So we got a ways to go, but these are useful. So again, everyone, thank you. And we'll see everyone at 7.
Thank you. See everyone at 7.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.